The recording and we're live. Hello, everybody on Facebook and
Hello.
everyone that's joining on Zoom. So happy to have you. Let me see how to pin our videos. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today I'm joined by one of my favorite people on the planet, Lawrence Lanoff, and we get to talk about this incredible subject of energy sex or energetic sex. And what does that mean? What is this concept? Like, so many people are talking about it now. And when I wish a few years ago that there were many people talking about it, or even 30 years ago when I started experiencing this. And so I'm so excited to have this conversation and that people are actually talking about it now. So Lawrence Lanoff, why don't you start? Tell people a little bit about you and what's energy sex to you?
Well, yes, my name is Lawrence. Um sheesh, man, energy sex is it's like a different universe of relating to people. That's one of the things that I love so much about it. Just such a different way of thinking about sex, relationship, connection, all the things that people have a challenge with. Honestly, I mean, it's people are so we've all been so trained, and so to step into something where energy is the primary point of connection, that becomes super interesting in relationship and connection. That's why I love it so much. I mean, there's so much nuance and detail to it, and ways of relating. So very exciting stuff. So basically, in a nutshell, I would say energy sex is a way of connecting that allows you to be in the entirety of your energy. So that is to feel all of your chakras and to be able to connect in your full power, but in ways that may or may not have anything to do with what you've been trained in as to what sex means. And that's what I think is really exciting about it. It's kind of a redefining that we're doing. I mean, we're in the process of doing. So that's what it is for me, and that's what I really enjoy so much about it. Love
Well, thanks for
watching people's
sharing.
minds. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. And
Thank you.
for anyone new that's watching or will watch this video, then my name's Monique. And for me, then energy sex was this untold something that was happening inside of my body. And some of my earliest memories were running and jumping on bean bags and like basically humping them, but not knowing, like no one even talked to me about sex until I was 8 or 9 years old. And I'd be sitting outside and be making love to the earth or the sunshine or like a breeze blowing by. And I'd have these orgasmic experiences that I had no words for, no concept for. And if I even tried to talk about it, I was shamed for. And so I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with me. And there's nobody else like me. And I just got to pretend like these things aren't happening. And as I got older and as I found the tantric field, then I was so excited to find that there were other people that actually experienced these same types of like sensitivities and making love to the universe and getting to have that languaging. And then have people say, Monique, does that really happen? What happens? Can you go sit next to a tree and the tree fucks you? And I'm like, yes. And I have this dear lover, Lawrence Lanoff, and we'll fuck each other from thousands of miles away on airplanes and we'll have a threesome with the sunshine. And so there's all these experiences that I finally had common languaging for, and I had other people that wanted to experience it with me. And so if any of that sounds familiar to any of you, like energy just happens so differently for every single person. So like for me, it's very much a feeling. It's like a sensation in my body. And for other people, they taste it, they smell it, they hear it, they see it. Like sometimes it will even appear as colors now for me. So for you, then the first thing that I would offer or invite you to do if you want to start tapping into this energy is just start slowing down. Like just start taking a few breaths. If you're with a partner, if you're in nature, you're in a bubble bath, like water's fantastic energy conduit. Just take a few breaths and start noticing what's happening inside of you. Are there colors there? Are there sounds, smells? Is there some place in your body that's cold or tingly or heat flowing through your body? And then just start noticing. And that's your first tap into, oh, there's the energy, and here's how it's coming to me and having access to it. What do you think, Lawrence? Like, what's your first memory? Let's start there. What's your first memory of energy? And like, how did it occur to you?
Well, I think the thing that I started to tap into was I was developing what I call body sensing, or the ability to sense with the totality of my body. That was one of my practices, and I was walking one day. I was walking one day out in nature, up in Mount Shasta, and this thing happened where one of these huge redwood trees just caught my attention. It was as if it had sort of stopped me on the road and just said, "Stop!" And then I was like, what is this? And so I just turned my energetic attention towards the tree, and then the tree gave me this incredible teaching. And it wasn't really in words. It wasn't like, it was like, here's what it is to be a tree. It was quite the opposite. It was like this nonverbal energetic training on what it is to be grounded. And I thought it was so fascinating. It was kind of life-changing, because people talk about grounding, but this, like, to get it from the tree was just phenomenal, because it was non-verbal. It was just energetic. This is how energy moves through me, and I'm teaching that to you. And I've used that. I mean, it was such a revolutionary experience, and that just came, number one, from listening to my body, and then number two, having the awareness that, oh, this thing catches my attention, and then three, to listen to it. So that's kind of how I started in this. Like, that was one of the early experiences.
Yeah, trees, they love to talk to you. Like, that's my first thing wherever when I travel around, then I'll go find a tree. And there's been so many times, like in Thailand was the biggest experience for me. I get off the airplane and we're just driving. I'm like, you have to stop the car. And it was like this giant heartbeat. And I heard this tree, and I wandered around past people's property, and it was back in this whole compound. And there was this huge, I call it a big yoni tree, because yoni, or our pussy, like, it looked like this giant pussy in the middle of like a 500-plus-year-old tree. And it was just the most amazing thing to have this tree call to me. And then it just downloaded all of this information that it had for me around yonis, around groundedness, around living life as a female body person. And it was now, and then when I was doing some trainings there, I took people and we did rituals around that tree, and I love it so much. So trees are one of the first places that I'll go when I go to a new place, to get that information of, oh, here's what's happening in this land and this country and this place. So yes, trees are an amazing conduit of energy.
Totally.
So in a few minutes, then Lawrence and I want to take some questions from those of you that are on the Zoom. If you want to type in chat, you can do that, or you can raise your electronic hand if you know how to do that, and we'll get to you. And first, I want to do an exercise. So we're talking about energy, and I want you to be able to have your own experience, whatever that looks like. So just take your hands and just feel anything that you're noticing. If you put them just a couple of inches apart, just notice anything that's there. And just your resting state. And if you've been playing with energy, or like you have that innate sensitivity, then you might feel something. And if this is all brand new to you, then like take your hands and rub them together and just start warming up, activating those centers. You can rub your knuckles together. Just have some fun. How do you want to warm up your hands? And then try again. And just notice, did anything change? Did anything shift? And then play with that, like play going closer together. Like here, this feels like magnetized magnets to me, and my hands are pushing each other away. And then it's just like, where Where do you feel a change, a shift? And again, there might be colors. There might be a taste that you have in your mouth. You might be going, Monique, I feel nothing. And that's okay. Then feel like how that nothing feels different than the nothing you were feeling a minute ago. Is there something there for you? And if all else fails, just imagine. Imagine there's a ball of energy here, whatever color and shape that you want, and how much fun can you have with that ball of energy? So that's the first step, is noticing and becoming aware. And then I want you to imagine that inside of this ball of energy is whatever you're most longing for right now. You're longing for connection. Are you longing for more money? Are you longing for a new doggy? Like, what's that thing for you? What's one of your heart's longings? And imagine maybe you're wanting more nurturing or compassion in your life, forgiveness. And just imagine that this energy ball contains that. It has the feeling of what it's going to feel like when you hold that new doggy or that compassion that you've been longing for, or that love you've been seeking. And imagine it's right here in this ball between your hands. And as you're tapping in, then you have access, and just feel it start coming through your fingertips, the palms of your hands, your arms and shoulders. And just feel that energy creeping over your whole body in this beautiful cocoon. Because one of the magical spaces and gifts of energy is that in energetic reality, anything's possible in an instant. So when you feel like this energy ball has covered your entire body, then if your eyes are open, then I invite you to close your eyes and just take 4 or 5 deep breaths, breathing in the energetic feeling of whatever that longing is. It's right here, right now, all around you. Can you let yourself receive it? One more deep breath. Take it in as deep as you can. And then take your hands and just rub them on your body. And just really anchor this feeling in, this energy in. Oh, knowing that you're so worthy, you're so perfect just the way you are. Oh. And whatever this thing is, wants you as much as you want it. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just take a moment feeling that you have that direct access all the time. You have a little thing you want to share, Lawrence, before we go into questions?
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Nothing to say.
Thank you all for playing. And I'm looking if anyone has their hand up. If you don't know how to use your electronic hand, you can wave your hand if you have a question that you want to ask us. And hopefully I see your arm flailing around.
I saw Lisa.
You see Lisa? Great. Lisa, unmute yourself and we'd love to hear your question.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
I don't really have a question right now. I just wanted to say hello and I love you. I love you both. I'm so happy to be here.
Aww.
Oh, good to have you. Welcome.
Good to have you, Lisa.
Sweet. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, Miranda, my good friend Miranda from Hawaii. She's like, how do you have energetic sex on a plane and a threesome with the sun? So which one do you want to answer, Lawrence?
What's that?
Which one do you want to answer?
Oh, I'll take the threesome with the sun.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing is when you start to realize the flow of energy, it's a lot like if you've ever seen those oh, here's a piece right here. If you've ever seen like sacred geometrical pieces, when I am experiencing energy, it often feels like this. So Monique would be like, hey, I'm on the plane, and there's something, I've always used planes because there's something about just getting above everything and just getting free of the energy and having a lot of space. And so, she's texting, I'm like, okay, we tune in, and boom, you get that, you establish that connection because there is no space and time energetically. That's one fascinating thing. I figured this out quite a while ago, probably 30 years ago. I was like, man, like I can do a session with somebody and it's like I'm right here, because there really is no energetic space and time. And then we connect to the so like we connect, and then we connect to the sun, and now you have a threesome. Think of it like, this sacred geometry, like it's like you point, and then middle point, and this stuff starts to happen. It's really incredible. And each object, like any object, anything that exists has an energetic signature. So you're really free. I mean, we've done it with mountains and the sun and different awesome things. And so Miranda, follow-up question is, how do you feel, how do you know if you're really feeling a connection or just making up stuff in your head? And the answer, of course, Miranda, is yes. Exactly.
Does it really matter?
The fun is that from a perception standpoint, there really is no way to differentiate what is real and what is imagined. And there is some absurd thing that we humans have of like, if it's measurable, it's valuable, and if it's not, it's not, right? Which, it's just some principle. Like we'll do these things like, oh, well, that isn't real, like sometimes I wear this very blingy shit just for fun, and people are like, is that real? And I'm like, what? I mean, it's here. It's, how, like, what, so when you kind of start to get into that flexibility, Miranda, if you think about it, like, if I have a thought, so I'm going to think of something right now. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's very naughty, but I'm going to think that thought. So right there, I've already shifted, like literally my brain impulses, my body, my energy, my vibe, it's already shifted. My blood flow, my blood pressure, I'm sure has followed. And it's like 1/100 of a second. So is that real? Well, it wasn't factually happening right now. It was happening here. But effectively, it is the same. Now, whether ultimately that's something that's verifiable, I have no idea. I've been studied before. I've been under machines before. I've done some cool shit before, but I have no idea. I'm like, do you feel better? That's all that matters. And having a threesome with the sun and somebody on an airplane is fucking awesome. So that's my thing. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, who cares?
Do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Miranda.
Yeah.
And then
question.
Cliff says, what I asked for is very hard to get, but I would be very, very, very happy to have it. Is it better to ask for things that are more realistic or what your heart truly desires?
Can you, Cliff, can you give a context for that? I don't quite, like, can you give me a framework that you're thinking about that question exists in? You have to unmute if you want to. Let's see. Okay, well, we might go, but you were going to say something. Cliff, can you answer that? Okay. Well, you had an answer for that, Monique, based on what you read.
I do. Okay, yeah, he said he'd rather not answer, so Yeah, that's great. It gets to be all yours, Cliff. But for me, then it's the same. Like Lawrence is saying, is it real? Is it not? Do I ask for something realistic or not? Like, yes, ask for it and like ask for the thing. For me, I'll always go for my heart's truest desire. And sometimes that will bring up a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, a lot of like deep, like, why isn't it here right now? And so then all those beautiful emotions get to sit there with that longing. Like so often, then we're like, oh, I'm just going to ask for this thing that I might be able to get just because that might happen. And this thing, it probably won't. And it's unrealistic, or like whatever judgments that we put on it. And when you can actually get in touch with that peace, then you're like, oh, that's the thing. That's what I really want. And as you start adding it, especially in this type of exercise, then you're allowing that feeling to be able to be like intimate and close with you. And so whatever that heart's longing is, then it's right here with you right now, even if there's the other things that are coming up with it. Oh, it won't happen. I've tried this in the past, like whatever the stories that are there and the things that have gone on that make it unrealistic, then those just get to sit there. And you also get to sit and say, yeah, and I want it. I still want it. This is the thing I want more than anything. And then you're honoring that piece of your heart. So I'd always say, go with the thing that you want the most, because you're not going to stop wanting it just because you're asking for something else.
Totally. And I think the other thing that this gets at is like, I mean, this is going to sound very strange. I understand. Trust me. I'm still going to say it. I happen to think that octopus are really, really, really incredible. And they just have always fascinated me. I am probably not going to actually have a relationship with an octopus. Right? That's probably never going to happen. But the realm of energetic possibility still makes it possible for me to conceive of that connection, which is fascinating. So, I take something that's kind of absurd to just make the point that maybe something that you want will never actually be able to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a threesome on the moon. Forget, threesome with the sun we can do, but I want a threesome on the moon. No gravitational field. Can you imagine? You're just like throwing each other around. So much fun. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I certainly can play in the realm. And I think that's the thing, is expanding the realm of possibility and not getting so attached to like, it's got to be this thing, because that just tends to make us miserable. It's got to be this thing in this way. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have one final question, and then we're going to end for this week. And maybe you hop over to Instagram with us too. So Ben, if you'd like to unmute.
Hello. Nice to see you both.
Hey, Ben.
So yeah, I could go into a couple of things like techniques and things like that, but today I'm really interested in knowing more stories, and like I want to know about some, like, have you encountered any like deities or archetypes, or do you
yes.
kind of
Absolutely
leave your body, and is this like astral projection sex, and is that the kind of thing that you experience at this point? Can you
I've had angel gangbangs, Ben. Like Lawrence knows, this is one of my favorite things in the whole world, because I was just born with like this connection of knowing and making love to God. And like, that was the thing I was shamed for the most. But like, that's more real to me than me sitting and talking to you, is like feeling that connection and feeling one with God. And so it's just so beautiful to have that experience of having, how the angels are all like bringing the naughtiness in with the deities, and like I feel the experience of having their wings penetrate me and having them surround. And it's just so beautiful. So like, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah, and I think that as you start to get more in touch with that kind of energetic quality, you realize like there's all kinds of experiences that are open. And the only limit, literally the only limitation is your own programming and belief systems around it. But once you open, it's kind of like, I've experienced some of the craziest things. And I think the big shift in my own spiritual path on all this stuff was when I stopped reading books and just started going straight to the, in this case, Ben, like your question, like the deity or to the thing that I wanted to learn from. Because I was in a, I was taking a tantra class from somebody who was coming from a Zen background. And this was a long time ago. And she had me sitting in the waiting room. So I was like, okay, well, I'm waiting. I might as well do something. So I tune in. And all of a sudden this this crazy kind of Zen master appears. And he taps me on the forehead, like right here, and he says, if you want the most of this session, you probably want this. And goes, and then this kind of like this sort of map of the energy that she was using appeared. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's actually super helpful because now I can kind of understand the territory we're navigating. And so when it finally came time to do the session, I said, hey, I got to tell you about this experience. And she was like, she just looked at me like, because it was just so like, what? She goes, those are like way super advanced teachings. Like, what? And it wasn't that, it was just, I was just open, and that creature was there and that being was there. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Cool. So it's kind of fun. I think it's just kind of getting into the mindset of just being open and saying yes, and exploring, because all this stuff will be unique for you. And that's
just a little mini question there. Sorry to cut you off there. Just a minute. So it seems like you both have this natural ability that you tapped into from a very young age. Monique and Lawrence, you've got like an immense background of like decades of this. So is it teachable?
It's totally teachable. We're doing a class in July in Sedona. It's very teachable. The key is just the practices, right? So I didn't start this way. I had a practice and I worked really hard on that practice, and then stuff started happening. But it was quite a while banging on the rock, to be honest, Ben. It was just a lot of banging on the rock. I make no claim to it was natural. You can ask Monique. It was right. Like I was rolling the rock up the hill a lot of times, got crushed many times when it was rolling back down. It's just, but I'm very dogged. I'm just going to stick with stuff.
That's what it feels like at the moment. I have several practices, and I feel like it's banging on the rock. So some months I'm so enthusiastic. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stick at this, religiously. And then months go by, and then I reflect back and go, oh man, like I can barely notice any kind of difference. And then I'll get disheartened. It's not like the process is disheartening all the time. It's just when I stop and recognize, man, it's been another 3 months dedication, and I can't really, there's no feedback to say that this is like tangible yet. But I guess subtly there are some shifts happening, but it's very, very slow.
Yeah, typically I'm ready to give up just before the big breakthrough happens, which is so fascinating. Like I know when I'm really feeling like shit, I'm like pretty close to like something good happening, which is kind of paradoxical.
Yeah, because you surrender then, don't you? You give up and you surrender.
Yeah,
and then,
totally.
Yeah. I've heard you say that before.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. This was amazing.
Yeah, and you can go to my website, everydaytantra.com, and we'll have level 1 and level 2 of energy sex facilitator training in Sedona. And so it's like super deep practices for you to be able to practice with each other. And we'll also be back here in 2 weeks on the 22nd, and we'll be interviewing another one of our dear friends that plays in this realm, Reed Mahauko. So you'll get the three of us. It's been a long time since we've all the three been together. So
True.
come play with us, sign up. I'll send the link. Any of you that signed up through Eventbrite, then you will get the replay of this. And join our Facebook group. We plan on doing this for a long time in the future, at least until July. So come play every other week. Sending you so much love. Play with the trees, play with nature, play with yourself, play with the animals in your house. Like, just start playing. Like, pick up your telephone and just see, oh, if I'm looking at the back of my phone instead of the front of my phone, what do I see? What's it emitting? Like, anything. You can pick up any object and start having an experience.
Yeah, you can
with
connect. 100%.
Mhm. Thank you, Lawrence. Thanks, everybody. So
Bye,
much
everybody.
love to all of you.